I was going to open up with the quote and ask you guys if you knew where it came from, but I thought I would be slick and put that up there. Hello, everyone. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel. Welcome to the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast number 250. This is the one about, does Jeet Kune Do simple and direct still work? As you're logging in, if you'd be kind enough to say where you're logging in from, hit the like button, and feel free to continue doing so throughout the broadcast. If you're catching the simulcast over on the YouTube, please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell as well. If you enjoy my work and you'd like to support the program, please visit jkdrebel.com, click on the Rebel Gear link, and that's where you'll see stuff like this. The 4 tenets of Jeet Kune Do, t-shirt, long sleeve, short sleeve, hoodie, sweatshirt, coffee mug, all that good stuff. But of course, the best thing you can do is to spread the word about the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast by sharing this video. All right, so all of us JKD people, I'm pretty sure the majority of us are grateful that Bruce Lee was smart enough to design and develop an approach to martial art that was so evolutionary and revolutionary that it can, unfortunately, to a certain degree, that it can exist beyond him, right? So again, today, I find it necessary to remind you that if you're gonna analyze something of Bruce Lee's, then you should start by putting it into its correct historical context, as well as putting yourself as much as possible into the same frame of mind. So that being said, what was the genesis of simple and direct? What was Bruce Lee referring to? What was he thinking? So wasn't it his revolt against the classicalness, it's a word, the classicalness of the traditional martial arts? Wasn't it a revolt against the whole take 3 to 5 steps to effectively defend yourself? So wasn't it a revolt against that mentality? Wasn't it the simplicity of a guy grabs you and you hit him, right? Wasn't it also a response to the idea that more, as in learning more and more sophisticated techniques, right? Ostensibly, as you progressed in rank, wasn't it a revolt against that idea that that wasn't necessarily the smart way to do things? Didn't direct apply not only to the idea of longest weapon to closest target, but also the idea of hit what's there, hit what's readily available. So today, there's a context in which simple and direct is questioned, and that is in its applicability in the modern martial arts world. So again, if we go back in time, in Bruce Lee's time, not as many people had martial arts training or even had access to martial arts training. Whereas today, it is entirely possible that excuse me, your average street punk, right, might have logged hundreds or thousands of hours watching different online martial arts videos and training or trying it out with his thug friends, right? So the proverbial question then becomes, is finger jab him in the eye, kick him in the groin, is that enough to successfully acquit oneself in a street altercation of today? Well, no and yes, right? So to quote my Facebook friend Kathleen Goldrim, who actually, it was a question from him that gave me the idea for today's topic. Fights are violent, chaotic, and unpredictable. And when we talk to people who often face violence, so you talk to bouncers, bodyguards, police officers, you discover that when somebody is intent on hurting you, it's pretty difficult that just a simple stop will solve the situation. So what does it take? It depends on how well you have trained the strategy, right? Or the tactics of simple and direct. So for example, if all you've done is to work it against cooperative training partners, right? Whether you drilled it on the striking equipment, or even if you put on the safety gear, but you drill it, but you work it against a cooperative training partner. And let's say you do it only within the realm of stand-up versus stand-up. So I'm going to use colloquial modern day martial arts stuff, right? That's better than not having done anything at all. But your chances of overall success might be improved if you were to branch out from that stand-up versus stand-up approach and maybe even incorporate stand-up versus grappling, like maybe even specifically against a takedown, for example. The simple and direct approach might involve identifying the high percentage techniques that are relied on to affect a takedown. And so you could then train your simple and direct counters with your striking tools. But you can't stop there, because guess what? You might be the unlucky 1 in a million guy who goes up against the 1 in a million street punk who's been training to grapple a striker. So it's back to the drawing board to see what are the high percentage grappling counters to the high percentage grappling attacks. So are you with me? So you might train, let's say you decide in the modern era, people shooting in to take you down is something you got to be concerned about, right? You got to be concerned about all of it. But let's say you decide that's a situation I want to address. Okay, so you can't train stand-up versus stand-up anymore. You got to train stand-up versus grappling. But then you discover that there are people who train to grapple against stand-up people. So now you got to learn how to grapple against grapplers, right? So why this particular approach that I just described? Because as Larry Hartzell famously said, sometimes you get the beer. It's something like this. Pete Hetrick will know for sure. Sometimes you get the beer. Sometimes the beer gets you. And I'm not sure if Larry was talking about BEAR or BEER. Anyhow, if all of that, I didn't pull it out. I don't have the book here with me. But if it sounds familiar to you, I'm not surprised, because Larry Hartzell and Tim Tackett were talking about this stuff way back in the late 1980s, like 1987 or so, in volume 2 of their grappling book. Now, here's the thing. In the 30 plus 35 years since that book, grappling itself has become more sophisticated, right? But that's not to say that striking hasn't. If you look at what some of the stuff that people are doing now in the striking, like in an art like Muay Thai, like I see people in the ring now doing simple leg sweeps and what have you, right in the middle of their kicking and punching. It's pretty slick, right? So you could say that the modern martial art world, right? Let me explain this to you. You could say the modern martial art world has now caught up with Jeet Kune Do in terms of having an open mind. And in some ways, the modern martial arts world has even surpassed Jeet Kune Do, because most JKD practitioners are not competitive athletes. They're not MMA guys and gals. And the MMA people, they're now the ones who do anything and everything that will give them an edge in the competition arena. Old school JKD guys and gals did that as well. Not combative edge, not necessarily competitive edge, but we would train any and everything if we thought it would give us something that could be added to the arsenal, right? So I just answered the question. I said, who were these people? Well, it's the ones like me who are related to Larry Hartzell and Tim Tackett, right? If you get my meaning. It's part of the genre of Jeet Kune Do people who are able to perceive the art as more than just a set of prescribed techniques from the 3 eras. You know, you hear people talk about that all the time, how they have trained from the curricula of the 3 different eras and what have you, right? A thing that was known as Jun Fan Kung Fu prior to 1967, right? the people who are doing what they can to evolve the art, they see it as Bruce Lee saw it, which is Jeet Kune Do as an ever-evolving set of guidelines and principles, with simplicity and directness as major aspects of the approach, as major aspects of the philosophy. So it does not at all, because some people will, when they hear ever evolving, they think that means that I'm talking about adding arts, adding styles, adding techniques, or what have you. That's not it. That's not it, right? It's about refinement. Now, does that mean that you never see something somewhere that you hadn't thought of before, that you hadn't seen before, and so you adopt it and adapt it? Very, very possible. Very, very possible. But nowhere is it, well, I shouldn't say anybody, nowhere am I saying that it's absolutely necessary to go in search of a ton of different stuff and try to add a ton of different stuff and keep calling it Jeet Kune Do. I don't know how many times it is that we would have to explain this, but yeah. So simple and direct. What do you think? Does it still work? What do you think of my breakdown in how to approach it? Let me know in the comments below. That's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, comment, rate, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow me on Twitter at Dwight Woods and on Instagram at Dwight D. Woods, at paypal.me/UnifiedMA Miami. The Jeet Kune Do Journey Volume 1 is available, the raw but edited version. Coming up on Friday, we're going to do another reverse dialogue with my good friend Gerard Anthony Joseph. I think he's got some nagging questions about Jeet Kune Do that he wants me to answer for him. So if you want to tune in and see me answering some more questions on JKD, tune in Friday, October 28th, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Today's a blue day. This is one of my favorites. I love the orange contrast. My God, right? Okay, so I'll see some of you on Friday. If not, see you next Wednesday for another issue of the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast. Until then, this is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, signing off. You guys take care. Be safe. Talk soon.